All right, we are live. So this is Chris Berry, certified outlaw attorney, certified financial planner with Castle Wealth Group. And we do these weekly wisdom webinars every Wednesday at 1 o'clock, where I log in and just answer questions clients either submitted ahead of time or questions they might have live. So if you do have any questions, feel free to put it in the Q&A. I always start with positive focus, just something positive that happened over the last week or so. And I'll share something personally and then professionally. Personally, my kids are back into all their activities and their sports. And it's kind of crazy. But like this last weekend, it was kind of fun. My son, who's in 8th grade, he participated with the high school marching band for the big football game. And that was a pretty cool experience for him. It's cool to see him getting out there. And then they both had soccer games on Saturday, and then my son, he's quarterback for the flag football team. They played on Sunday. It was just cool to watch them kind of enjoy all their activities. So that's fun. And then a personal or a professional one, just sat down with some clients this week, and we mapped out their financial plan, their retirement legacy blueprint. And it's pretty cool to just sit down with them and see that they've done a great job of accumulating wealth. Now we can use this money, and a lot of the goals that they had there, we put it together a plan so that they felt confident that they could do it. Just seeing people's like eyes light up, and I enjoy telling clients that they can spend more of their money, because a lot of times people are, when they're in accumulation mode, it's all about saving money. And so a lot of times my role as a certified financial planner is to help clients understand that, yeah, now is the time that you spend the money. So that part was kind of cool. All right, so we'll go ahead and get started. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. So give me just a second here. All right, and then I hit this button, this button, this button. We should be going to the whiteboard here. Should be. And we are. Cool. All right. So again, if you do have a question or something's unclear, feel free to put it into the Q&A. This is just general advice. So first question, who should I choose as my power of attorney or executor? So this is a common question we get. Someone asked me this specifically yesterday. And we kind of have a hierarchy of who to recommend. So first, typically, if you have family, look to family. So family could be kids. If you don't have kids, could be siblings. Not siblings, sometimes nieces, nephews. And so we always recommend looking to family first. Typically, with saying blood's thicker than water, typically these people care about you, and they're going to put you first. And then if not family, then we get into close family friends. So close friends. So these are people, maybe college roommates, maybe a coworker, maybe someone from church, just someone who's a close family friend. Third, this is where we get into professionals. So like attorneys, CPAs, even we can serve, like we don't like to, but worst case, we can always serve. We don't like to serve on documents we're prepping. We try to point people in another direction, but we can serve. Fourth, getting into trust companies and banks can serve. Not a big fan of this because they're going to slow down the process. Can be very expensive for them to serve that role. Sometimes they have minimums, like you have to have at least $1 million or $5 million. And also they can say that they will serve, but then they can always change. For example, I won't name what bank, but we had a client who had a special needs child who needed supplemental needs, had a supplemental needs trust. They had named a big financial institution, big bank to serve, but they decided they were going to get out of the supplemental needs trust business. So they decided not to serve as trustee. And we actually had to go to court to then appoint someone else as a trustee. So we're not a big fan of banks or trust companies. We'd much prefer one of the first three, ideally family, if not family, then friends, not friends, then professionals, ideally maybe an outside attorney or CPA, worst case we could serve. Now, keep in mind, you might not have the perfect answer, but whoever you're going to come up with is better than letting the courts decide. And that's the final step, where if you can't come up with someone or you don't put a plan in place, then the court's going to decide, and they might appoint an attorney that has 250 other cases or wards of the state that they're dealing with. So we don't want to rely on that. We want to start with family, if not family, then close family friends, if not close family friends, then professionals, if not professionals, then we get into banks or financial institutions. But whoever you come up with is better than leaving the courts up to decide. So hopefully that was helpful. And next, we'll get into the next question that I have. And again, if you do have any legal, financial, or tax questions, anything going on with the news, feel free to put it in the Q&A. All right, so this next question, we have a castle trust. So we set up an asset protection trust. And looks like we have investments inside of there. We probably have a home in here. Now, what cannot go in there because we haven't paid any tax is pre-tax IRA money, right? So the question is, how will the kids be taxed when they inherit from the trust? So the nice thing about inheriting from the trust is that everything they inherit is going to be tax-free. And the reason for that is what's called step up in basis. So when you pass away, the kids from the trust or anything that's post-tax get what's called step up in basis. And what that means is if you bought something for, say, 100,000 and it grew to 500,000 and then you pass, this is the new basis, okay? So they don't have to pay any tax on that, okay? So anything they inherit from the trust is going to be tax-free. Now, if they inherit pre-tax dollars, this IRA money, again, this is pre-tax. We call it tax infested because a lot of people think taxes are going up. In fact, earlier today, right before this meeting, I was sitting down with a client or hypothetical client, and we developed an IRA exit strategy over the next 3 years, taking advantage of this year, 2023, 2024, 2025 before taxes go up. So we're going to pull money from his IRA each year, keeping him at the 24% tax bracket, so that by year 2026, when taxes go up, his IRA has been completely depleted and everything is going to be invested inside of his asset protection trust. So each year we're engaging in an IRA exit strategy of pulling money from that pre-tax account intelligently, paying the tax, and now this can invest and it grows, and when we leave it to the kids, it ends up being tax-free. So not only is it asset protected, but what you leave to the kids is tax-free. Versus anything that you leave to them from this pre-tax IRA account, they now have to pay all the tax, and it's taxed at income tax rates. And all of it has to be paid over 10 years. So if you think about it, not only do they have their wages or salary that, okay, they have to pay tax on this, but now on top of this, they have to pay tax on your IRAs as well, which will further raise their tax brackets. So again, this is why really we've been banging the drum of having this IRA exit strategy, not only for your retirement, to make your retirement as tax-free as possible, but also what you leave to the kids. Because the kids will much rather receive money tax-free from the trust versus pre-tax dollars from an IRA. So we're looking at improving your retirement and what we leave as a legacy to the kids. So hopefully that was helpful. And that was really all. Oh, here we go. Please define what an intelligent step when trying to add pre-tax IRA. Yeah, so what I'm talking about is just looking at your tax brackets to figure out how much you should be pulling out each year. So let me share my screen again. So I'm not saying everyone needs to engage in an IRA exit strategy, but I just think it's an intelligent move to explore it. The reason for that is that we know taxes are going up. And if I can share my screen again, yep. So we know taxes are going up. So from now, actually it was 2018 to 2025, your marginal tax brackets are 12, or I'm sorry, 10%, 12%, 22%, 24%, 32%. Okay. As your income grows, you get into these higher tax brackets. But this is the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act, and it sunsets in 2025. In 2025, the big ones are your 12% tax bracket is going to 15%. Your 22% tax bracket for most people is going to 25%. Your 24% tax bracket is going to 28%. Okay. And that's where most people fall. Most of my clients fall typically in the 22 or 24% tax bracket. 22% for a married couple is basically 90,000 to 190. 24% is basically 190 to, what's it, 360. Okay. So most of my clients fall there. So what I'm suggesting is we have these tax infested accounts like IRA money. Let's say we have, I'm just making up numbers, 900,000 here pre-tax. What I would be doing is every year, so 2023, let's say we don't have any other income, I would want to fill up maybe that 24% tax bracket. So each year I would have an IRA exit strategy of 2023. Let's pull out 300 and assuming we don't have any other income, pull 360,000 out of that IRA. And then that's going to keep us at that 22% tax bracket. 2024, we could pull out another 360. And again, I'm assuming we don't have any other income. So I'm just really simplifying this. 2025, pull out, let's say it's grown, so there's still more in there, pull out the remainder of 360,000. And there's different strategies here with IRA exit strategy. And one thing could be Roth conversions. We could be doing that. We could be doing what I call trust conversions, where we put it into the trust. But it's the idea of, we know that taxes are going up in the future because the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act is expiring. Plus, we have this boogeyman out here of a $32 trillion debt. That's what the government owes right now. So this is a 2023, government owes $32 trillion. 2019, we owed $22 trillion. Okay. So we've racked up another $10 trillion over the last couple of years. So what's not to say that taxes are going to go up even higher in the future? So when I say look intelligently at an IRA exit strategy, I'm just saying, look at the numbers and look at your situation to see if it makes sense and figure out how much it makes sense to do. And that's something that we work with our clients on, is going over the different options. Should we fill up the 24%? Should we fill up the 22? Should we not engage in it at all? But understand that with the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act, we have this window that's closing. And so each year from 2018 to 2025, we should be looking at analyzing or asking the question, should we engage in an IRA exit strategy? And then if so, how much? And if you reply back to the email or shoot me an email, I can get you a Forbes article that I wrote on this concept of the IRA exit strategy. But I think taxes are one of the biggest risks and biggest opportunities right now. Okay. If my IRAs are CDs with banks, what would be the steps to not renew them and pay the tax so these can be added? So the question is, okay, let's say we have CDs at the bank. Trying to figure out the question here. What would be the steps to not renew them and pay the tax so these can be added. I assume added to the trust. So typically CDs are going to be like a 3-month CD, 6-month CD, 9-month CD. If they're post-tax dollars, basically what you do is you wait for them to mature, and then you could then move it into the trust, and then you could invest it however you want. It's pretty straightforward. You'd have to pay capital gains when oh, if my IRAs are CDs, I'm sorry. Okay. So your IRAs are CDs. I apologize. So the IRA, inside of the IRA, you can own different types of investments, but think of an IRA as a box. Okay. And you can have CDs, you can have stocks, bonds, you can have annuities, fixed index annuities. All of these investment tools can be inside of that box of the IRA. And really what you have to do is you have to wait for the CD to mature. And then once the CD matures, then it's just cash sitting there. And all you'd have to do is just pay the tax and move it into the trust. Keep it with these pre-tax IRAs, unless you're donating the money to charity, it's always going to be taxed. There's really no way around it. So keep that in mind. Anything inside of IRA, it's always going to be taxed. It's just a matter of when and how. And with the when, we know taxes are going up. So I would suggest let's get it taxed now versus later, because I'd rather be taxed at, say, 22% tax or 24 versus a 25 or 28% tax in the future. So yeah, so if you have CDs or a fixed index annuity that's not due, basically you have to wait until that comes due, and then you could move it into the trust. And also I would caution people to get CDs right now, just because like we have a high yield savings account right now that's at 5%. So it's completely liquid. Versus I see people who are locked up in CDs at 3, 4, 4.5%. You're trading liquidity for no reason. If we have a high yield savings account at 5%, like it's completely liquid. You can move money in and out. So I'm not a big fan of CDs right now with where interest rates are. So all right, let me see if we have any other questions coming in. Nope. All right. So with that, I want to thank everyone for joining me this Wednesday. If anyone else you think would benefit from attending one of our webinars, feel free to send them the link. It's just wisdomwebinar.com. We do have our Alzheimer's walk coming up September 30th. If you're interested in either participating in the walk or donating some money, even if it's $5, $50, or $100, we'd certainly appreciate that. Over the last couple of years, we raised about $50,000 to go to the Alzheimer's Association. I think right now we're sitting over $3 grand, and we want to get up to at least $5 grand. So that's something of your interest. Feel free to shoot us an email and we'll get you connected with our Alzheimer's walk sign up. And the walk is September 30th. It's going to be in Howell this year, is the one that we're attending. So with that,